The name Tembisa comes from the Zulu word Tembisa, meaning promise. The township, founded in 1957, is the second largest township in Gauteng, following Soweto. We might assume the concrete jungles are where dreams are first born, but in Mzansi, it is the dusty streets of the townships. Welcome to Bophelong. My name is Refilwe Muilwa. On the show today, we learn of how Bulelani Balabala overcame the challenges that molded him into who he is today. Take a look.
When I sit here today, years later, because you understand that I wasn't the most popular kid, and I'm not the most smartest person. So when I sit here today and I'm seeing 12 guys, young guys working for me, and they're able to put food on their tables, man.
Bulelani Balabala is a 28-year-old from Tembisa, from nothing to making his first million at the age of 27. Bulelani is using his poverty scars and current success to empower his neighborhood.
I come from poverty, but I come from beautiful poverty because it's actually pushed me and helped me create myself and become the individual that I want to be. Some of the most unique and innovating things that my mother used to do was she'd cook pap, right? And then she'd let it cool over the night. And then in the morning, when I went to the kitchen to get my lunch tin, and I'd open it up, it's squares. She'd cut it up into squares as if it was slices of bread, because buying things like bread then was a luxury. There was a time where shoes that were bought for me that year by my aunt in primary school were worn out.
Poor and young, Bulelani felt ashamed and tried to withdraw from his peers.
I remember that what I used to do each and every day, break time, I'd go and eat my lunch behind the media center. But on one fateful day, they found me. I was so embarrassed. At that moment, I thought to myself, open up earth and swallow me. But then, when they got to me, they opened my lunch and they were so excited, like, Bob, what? No, you can have ours. And they was like, oh, I can have yours. Cheese, ham, definitely, you can keep mine. I'll bring this every day.
Church and faith kept him stationed in his dreams.
The church crowd, which were friends that I found, which were from church, because then now we had one thing that we all had in common. But the friends that I also had that we grew up together, we had another thing in common, which was the fact that we all grew up together, but there was still that stigma, but then you are not like us.
Bulelani was not the only person having to duck and dive the reality of his situation. His mother had to take most of the shame of not having enough to sustain her family.
Life with children, having no one to help you, it's a nightmare. Sometimes you wouldn't have anything to eat. If I've got a little bit of a meal, I would cook porridge. I had 2 enamel dishes from home. We were staying at Mkanza before. So from those dishes, the bigger one I would use to dish for Bulelani, and the smallest one, it was for me. We would sit here, it was carpets here, and he would eat that porridge and sleep on the carpet. I would sit there, he is sleeping now. I am thinking of what I'm going to give him when he wakes up, because I don't have anything in my pocket. Bulelani, when I am seated there crying, he would wake up. Whilst I'm still crying, he would say, Sutu, are you crying? And I would turn and look sideways, wipe my face. And before I could even answer him, he would say, don't cry. God will bless you.
As the kids grew older, the problems also grew immensely as their needs couldn't be met.
There was this time when he was at Oliphant's primary school, when the principal, they used to phone me, tell me that we are going to expel your child from school because you are not paying the fees. And there was a day when now they were going to write their exams, and they said he is not going to write his exams. I went there. You know, I was like a mad woman in Leleni. I was praying throughout. When I arrived there, I talked to the secretary. I explained myself that I'm asking them to let him write. It's not his fault, it's my fault, because I can't pay for his fees because of the situation I'm living at. You know, the secretary went to the principal. To my surprise, when the principal came, he came happy, smiling, and I was surprised, crying. The principal said, "We've heard you. Your son is going to write the exams. We are cancelling the debt."
Bulelani's mother would feel that hope is no more, but with the help of her son, she would always gain strength because he had earnest faith.
Things I've gone through as a single mother, the brother being at school, not knowing what he is eating there. Sometimes he would come home hoping that when he's going back, I will give him money. But I had no money, because even what I was getting then, it could not even afford anything at home. I was owing rent, owing the furniture I had, which ended being repossessed. So we were left without anything at home.
Bulelani tried justifying his situation to that of a township child, but when precious and small events couldn't be celebrated, he would really question his birthright.
All these things that I call beautiful poverty are beautiful now. But at that time it was a frustration, you know, it was a frustration because most of my birthdays were not even celebrated.
This would grow to frustrate Bulelani at times.
I used to actually cry at night in my bed. I actually used to sit up and cry at night because there's no electricity and it's painful. And there's no TV, there's no fun, there's no being cool. You know, you're a little kid, you just want to be cool. I remember at one, and I'm a boy as well, and no girls even took an attraction to me because who are you? What do you have? Where do you come from? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I mean, that actually kind of broke me. At times I thought to myself, but why wasn't I born from a rich family?
Motivation comes from within, and at one point Bulelani decided that if he wanted to be greater than his circumstances, he had to change his way of thinking.
I was motivated by the prayer. I was motivated by the love. I was motivated by the fact that I could go to her and ask her for something and she'd tell me that we don't have.
This also led to him understanding that he didn't have to come from a suburb area to make an impact.
I always tell people it's the one place where you'll find creatives, the one place where you'll find people who are innovative, the one place where you'll find movers and shakers is in the township. It's just that they're diamonds in the rough and some of them don't even know it.
A universal story indeed, but what makes some people stand out is their resilience and fighting for a way out. Stay tuned. After the break, we're back.
Morning Live sets the agenda for the day.
We bring you the latest local and international news.
We are on the ball with all your sports activities and results.
We give you the latest business update.
We bring you the latest weather every time.
Watch Morning Live every weekday morning at 6 o'clock, bringing you everything you need to know before you go. Shap shap, tada.
Welcome back. So we learned of Bulelani's childhood in the first segment. Let's now hear about how he shifted gears and overcame those obstacles.
There's a declaration I always said, each and every day in the morning without fail. I'd walk around and I'd say that people are coming in from the north, the south, the east and the west. People are flying in, people are walking in, people are driving in, people are swimming in. Don't ask me the logic around the swimming. I was very ambitious. People are swimming in, people are coming in, people are just going to show up, people are going to spend their money. And then the day started.
Bulelani, raised by a single parent, did not have it easy, but instead of minimizing his dream to his upbringing, he wanted to be an entrepreneur, although no one in his family had been into business before.
I started the business from a garage at home. Now, at that time, the garage was filled with furniture, it was filled with parts, because we had someone who was a tenant, who was leasing the garage out, was living here. And the gentleman left, and he left some of the furniture here, but never came back to get it. But we still kept it just in case if he came. So it was my mom's parts, boxes, old clothes, all these things. But then I had this great idea one day, and I spoke to one of my friends. I was like, I'd like to print stuff. But at that time, I knew nothing about t-shirts. I knew nothing about anything that had to do with any immediate business or anything like that.
When starting his business, his mother had a hard time believing in his dream.
And one day he said, I'm asking for the garage. And I started again, there are things there. Where am I going to put them? They are going to get lost. And one day when I came back from work, all my stuff that was there was out here. I was angry, I took them, I put them this side, and he had started in the garage. And you know how he started? It was amazing, because he had one computer, and even that computer, it was his brother's computer, because his brother had a computer. So he used to fidget with his brother's computer. And I remember it was one time broken, but he fixed it.
Bulelani's mother saw his insisting energy when he made use of what he had to get to his dreams.
When he got his CK certificate, he came, when I arrived from work, came telling me, showing me the certificate that his business is registered. Which business? That you will see. And I didn't understand. I shouted at him. I didn't see any business in him. I said, you haven't even worked. I've taken you to school. You don't want to work. You see I'm suffering. You don't want to help me. And you know, Bulelani is somebody who will push to see what he wants.
Bulelani also wanted to prove that his dreams are well mapped out.
2007, I decided I'm going to open up an internet cafe. I had no funds, had no mentor, had no understanding of what computers were, or rather how they operated. I knew what computers were. I had no experience in terms of operating them. But there I was, I wanted to start a cafe.
A printing company in a township was more than a risk for Bulelani, as he had no points of reference.
My aunt was the one who donated the inks, who bought the inks for the two printers. The two printers were an HP printer and there was a Lexmark printer. Another beautiful story about these printers. My brother then later bought the fax machine, but he also assisted in a lot of things. And through all this entire thing, my mom seeing all these things going in and out the house, she's like, I hope you're not stealing these things. Because I didn't raise you to go to prison. And it actually scared her, because she didn't understand what it was. There was no entrepreneur in my family. And to date, I'm the only one.
Being the first entrepreneur in his family made everything more difficult for Bulelani, as he had no mentor or financial backup.
Entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. And you can imagine I had to start it at the age of 17, formally at the age of 17 with a registered business. And most of my friends weren't entrepreneurs. Most of them aren't even entrepreneurs. The first 4.5 years of the business, I was literally making nothing. The first day I opened up on the 3rd of September, I made 5 rand.
With the lengthy period of the business not making money, Bulelani's mother tried to help his son by looking for a job for him.
One day he said, "Who told you that I want to work? I'm not going to work. I am going to do my own business." And you know, as a mother looking at a better future for him, I shouted at him, telling him, "You cannot start a business. You don't have anything. I don't have money to help you. How can you start a business? What are you going to do?" You know, he kept on. Instead, he would wake up before I go to work, wake up and say, "I'm asking for money. I want to register my company." "Your company? Do you have a company?" "And you will see."
His brother Vuyo Balabala had similar dreams of being an entrepreneur, but didn't have the courage to start it up.
I was happy because it's something that I wanted to do. But you know, I was not courageous enough to can start, and I felt as if, you know, it will take forever for me to even break even or to even make a decent salary, you know. And I remember when he saw a business plan that I wrote back in the days, you know, he said, "No, I mean, I can make this thing. I can make this thing work." You know, really? No, just go through it. You'd make me a happy person.
Regardless of his mother's attempts, he saw his dreams of being his own boss bigger than that which his mother had in mind for him.
She was like, "I found a job for you. You're gonna go there. You're gonna take your CV there." It was a job to actually go dig lines for the electrical cables with some electrical company which was in Joburg. I remember I went there with my cousin. We got onto a train. We went to Joburg Park Station. When we got there, we were like, "We're not doing this." We chucked the CVs and we came back home. I couldn't explain it, but there was something in me that constantly said to me that, "But this is not you. But this is not you." But I couldn't explain it. But this is not you. And then when I think about it today and I track back, even before I formally started business at the age of 17, I was selling amagwinya. I'd wake up early in the morning, yenza amagwinya, and sell them.
Intercessor Army Franchising is now a brand that has allowed him to grow as an individual and make a mark that will make him change not only his future, but also of his family.
Faith, it had worked for him, because it is faith that has taken him to where he is now.
Don't go anywhere. There's more after the break. You're watching Bophelong.
Several thousand migrants are adrift in boats in Southeast Asian seas.
The refugees have been abandoned at sea by human smugglers with little food and water.
The UN has appealed to the governments of Thailand, Indonesia and Malaysia to act quickly to avert a massive humanitarian crisis.
Leaders will meet in Dar es Salaam on Wednesday to discuss the political crisis in Burundi.
At least 19 people have been killed and more than 200 wounded during violent protests against President Nkurunziza's bid for a third term.
Primetime News, daily at 6 p.m.
Your World makes it its business every evening to round up the leading local stories and international news to keep you informed all the time.
Make a date with Your World every evening for all the news headlines around the world to keep you abreast with knowledge.
Catch Your World for headlines across the world every Monday to Friday from 9 p.m, then Saturday and Sunday from 7 p.m.
Welcome back. And so we're nearing the end of the program, but before that, we wrap up Bulelane's story with reflections from his community and employees on the man that he is today and what they admire him for.
I'd like to think that my success, or my successes, or the successes that are yet to come are not for me. Well, they're not just for me in any case, but they're for all the people around me.
Now, with the company growing, attracting clients from all parts of South Africa, Bulelani has only one secret weapon.
Every day, what he would do with all what he had collected, he would take out, count what he has made that day, and take out tithe.
His passion for empowering young people has grown immensely, as today he has employed 11 young people from Tembisa.
Tembisa becomes that hub, because what I always relay out to people is this: 40, 50 years ago, Sandton was just a bush. But what is regarded today as the richest square mile in Africa, only because 2-3 gentlemen came together and they took an initiative, and they took a step to then say that we're going to convert this bush with no surrounding cities into becoming a public metropolis. And then when I fast forwarded to today, it's simple. How I derived that whole entire story is, if 4 or 5 guys can't do it, how much more when 10 or 100 young, amazing people with bubbling personalities, with great concepts and great ideas come together to develop their township.
Township Entrepreneurs Alliance, T, hosted its first monthly workshop, and the response from the youngsters was overwhelming for Bulelani.
I started Township Entrepreneurs Alliance because T was founded from that particular notion to develop other entrepreneurs, because I'm not intimidated by other people's success. And if one guy can come back to me and say that because of that initiative, I got a R1 billion deal, or I got a 10 million rand order, or I'm able to run my business way better, then that is the one thing that I want the most, because I didn't get that. So if it took me 7 years to make my first million, it needs to take you 2. It needs to take you 1 year, because I've got all the scars to prove, and I've got all the experience to prove that I started with nothing and I came up to this. And if I'm able to help you fast track your life to get to the point where you're able to be the person that you want to be, then sure, let be it.
Development through branding was a loophole Bulelani saw in the township.
If we are able to extrapolate out of you what your values are, who you are, your vision, your mission, your objectives, and who you're supposed to be in life, and what your culture is, then I've done my job, because the end product will be the printing and the whatever which will come to us for. But if I'm able to help this individual productize themselves, put themselves in a position where they're always at an advantage, whether they're talking to their managers or whether they're asking for a promotion or negotiating for a promotion because of the value that they've added, they've got a perspective which has been shifted. Why? Because they are brands themselves. So I'd like to think of myself as a brand speaker.
Mwaketsi Nkosi thought he would just come to pass time and gain a bit of experience, but he was surprised by the growth and seriousness of Bulelani's garage business.
Initially at first I was thinking, just after school and stuff, let me just do 3 months maybe, experience. And as the company grew and as time went by, I just realized that, wow, this is something actually becoming something very great. And initially, when I came in, it was just the 2 of us with Bule and just 1 van. Now there's a panel van and a Peugeot, a van and a private car. And now we employ about 7 people. So it kind of grew in a year or so, in a year and 8 months. I mean, it has grown immensely. If he keeps on doing what he's doing, then he'll become a better person, a better mentor for the community as well.
Another employee, Emily, has also recently joined the team, but was instantly inspired to start her own business.
I've learned that with age, don't say you're too small to start a business, and then you can do it by the support of your neighbors and family. Yeah.
Motivating on local radio stations and printing for big clients, Bulelani is a clear example that it really doesn't matter where you come from, but rather it is where you set your mind that your dreams will follow.
And then that machine that you have over there, For instance, this machine that this gentleman is operating now, this is a plotting machine. I mean, for instance, this serves sometimes to most of our clients as to give them an idea of some of the things that we provide. I mean, for instance, there you've got your stickers there. We do the certificates. You've got, for instance, the embroidery, nice embroidery there. So this would then signify the shirt and the embroidery. So this would be the swatch, especially for the reception science perspex, because then we cut it out of this and then it gives a nice 3D effect. So then you've got your lanyards as well here, your key rings. So this is just for those quick, smaller things that we have out there. I mean, we've got bigger signs outside, we've got the advertising trailers outside, which you can't exactly fit inside because we weld everything ourselves. So everything from the concept development to the design, to the print, to the rigging, to the installation, everything is done in-house. Yeah.
His family and the whole of Tembisa is really proud of Bulelani.
I sit here today with a vehicle fleet that are branded, that are ours, that I own. When I sit here with an office that is filled with possibility where we're actually buying office space. Man, like I can't, because for me that is the one major thing. The ability to impact other people. The ability to touch other people's lives. Nothing goes beyond that.
And that's how we come to the end of this episode of Bophelong. Thank you so very much, Bulelani, for sharing your story and inspiring the nation. And well, this is how we come to the end of the show, as well as my tenure here on Bophelong. It's been an amazing and incredibly inspiring 7 months. But I do have word that the old presenter who started off the show, Buleng Molebatsi, is coming back. So Buleng, you know, we are so very glad that you are coming back. You've been away for a little bit. You are a mother now as well. And that will actually come in very handy in terms of giving you a different perspective when it comes to, you know, some of the stories featured on the show. So welcome back.
Thank you so much. It was a very interesting, life-changing break that I took. And being back, I'm looking forward to it. I used to sit at home and watch you, and I still felt the same butterflies I felt every time I was on stage. I felt them at home. So you did such a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Buleng. Thank you. And yeah, that's a wrap from Bophelong. Catch it next week, same time, right here on the SABC News Channel.